Continuation of Zen Koans with an Advaita twist. And today we will cover Mumonkan case number 16, When the Bell Sounds. This koan is rather rich and touches various dimensions of the teaching. I therefore, in order to keep the length of this video below 20 minutes, I cover only part of it, and even the koan text has been shortened somewhat. So the text goes as follows. Umon said, "The world is vast and wide. Why then do you put on your 7-piece robe at the sound of the bell?" Mumon's comment. In studying Zen, you should not be swayed by sounds and forms. And then, if you are free, just tell me, does the sound comes to the ear, or does the ear go to the sound? While listening with your ear, you cannot talk of Zen. While listening with your eye, you are truly intimate. So let's start from the beginning. Umon said, "The world is vast and wide. Why then do you put on your 7-piece robe at the sound of the bell?" Of course, this statement is not only addressed to Zen monks living in the Middle Ages. This question could easily be rephrased as, "The world is vast and wide. Why do you get up to brush your teeth to go to work when your alarm bell rings?" Or even a different version, "The world is vast and wide. Why do you get up and cook breakfast in order for you to go to school?" In fact, one should say it's not only the world that is vast and wide. So is consciousness. Consciousness, which is defined as follows: that in which this body appears. What is that? That in which thoughts appear. What is this? That in which feelings appear. What is this? And that in which the 5 sense perceptions appear. What is this? In fact, what I just defined as consciousness is even wider than the world, because it does contain all sense perceptions that manifests this world in consciousness. And to live your lives from that vast aware space that contain all of these phenomena, that provides you with a sense of freedom and joy. Indeed, when we take ourselves for this body-mind, rather than that in which it appears, we feel imprisoned by it, as it is opaque, as it is heavy, as it is oppressing. However, if we feel ourselves as that aware space, as that consciousness that observes this body-mind, then we feel ourselves freed from such shackles. And that leads to what I just mentioned, a sense of freedom, a sense of joy. For those of you, the viewer here, who tasted this already, this sounds probably quite familiar. But for those of you who never experienced this, I would say, turn your gaze around from body to that which perceives the body, from thoughts to what perceives the thought, from feelings to that which perceives the feeling. And when you can get a taste of that, you can get a taste of that at any time. In fact, you can get a taste of that right now. The thing is that what is true freedom, and when you can live from that vantage point, then it doesn't matter anymore to put on a robe in the morning, or to brush your teeth, or to go to work, or to school. Those experiences then, in fact, becomes joyful, like part of an act we play. Playful samadhi, it is called. So let us go back to the koan. I will start from the beginning again and then continue with one more line. Umon said, "The world is vast and wide. Why do you put on your 7-piece robe at the sound of the bell?" Mumon's comment, "In studying Zen, you should not be swayed by sounds and forms." As mentioned, when studying Advaita or Zen, or any similar practices, you should not be swayed by your body, by your thoughts, by your feelings, and by your sense perceptions. In fact, in studying Advaita or Zen or similar practices, you should anchor yourself firmly in the aware space which contains these all. And similarly, to come back to the sentence by Mumon here, when you hear sounds, you should also listen to them without losing the hearer, that space which hears, the space in which the sounds come. I will play the chimes a little bit, and I'd like to suggest that you, the viewer, try to listen to these sounds without losing the hearer, without losing the space in which the sound appears. Try. Could you listen to it without losing the hearer? And same with forms. Look, for example, at the furniture around you in whatever room it is you're sitting in. Look at the furniture. Can you see them without losing the seer? You should actually look at this furniture like this. I can see the chair, but I also don't forget or lose the seer. I can see this pillow, but I'm not losing the seer. In this kind of seeing in two ways, that is a kind of trick to not get lost by the sounds, not get lost by the forms. And when you can do that, you can also put on your 7-piece robe in the morning without losing the aware space or consciousness. Or you can also brush your teeth without losing this aware space of consciousness. Or you can also go to work or to school without losing this aware space. Anyway, now we are going to continue with Mumon's comment. And then it says, if you are free, just tell me, does the sound come to the ear, or does the ear go to the sound? So this is a question by Mumon towards you to test your understanding of this consciousness, of this aware space. He says, does the sound come to the ear, or does the ear go to the sound? In fact, when you really listen or hear from the vantage point of aware space, from the vantage point of consciousness, and not from the vantage point of this body-mind, then there is no sound there and an ear here. Let us just listen to the chimes again, and when you do, try to see if you can find a border between the sound that you hear and the space in which it is being heard. Any boundary? Any boundary between the sound and the space that hears it? Or is it just one seamless continuum? And let us now continue with this Mumon's commentary. He says further, while listening with your ear, you cannot really talk about Zen. While listening with your eye, you are truly intimate. When you listen with your ear, you still identify somehow with this body-mind, and you cannot really talk about Zen or express this matter. What about listening from this consciousness point of view, from the point of view of the observer of this body-mind, from this aware space? Let us do following experiment. I'm going to ring the gong, and while I'm doing that, get the feel, get the taste of the space in which the sound arises and goes. And now a second experiment. If you rub your hand together, you're creating a sensation of warmth. In what space does this sensation arise? And now the question is, the space in which this sound of the gong arose and the space in which these sensations arose, are they two spaces? Or is it just one and the same space? And as a third case, we can imagine tasting something, maybe a strawberry. Imagine the strawberry taste. It comes up in aware space. And then the question is again, is that a third space one space for the gong, one space for the rubbing, and one space for the strawberry? Or is it all happening in one and the same space? And a fourth example, if you look at, for example, these chimes appear to you in consciousness, in aware space. And then the question again is this a fourth space? One space for the gong, one space for the rubbing sensation, one space for the strawberry, and one space for the sight of the chimes? Or is it all happening in one space? So to repeat the last two lines of Mumon's commentary, while listening with your ear, you cannot really comprehend Zen. While listening with your eye, you are truly intimate. He could also have said, while listening with your eye, or while tasting with your nose. It doesn't matter. What matters is this one big eye, this Dharma eye, or consciousness. It's only one. And when you can listen from that vantage point, you really are truly intimate. Well, thank you for listening. And don't forget, when you put on your robe tomorrow morning after waking up, or brushing your teeth, or when you go to work, don't forget to do all these experiences with this double finger in mind. The things are there, and yet don't lose your aware space. Don't lose consciousness. Thank you.